Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Artists and Authors from CentralValleyTalk.com. I'm Austin Reed. Thank you for joining us. Happy Thursday, the final day of September 2021. I cannot believe October is coming up tomorrow. Hey, my first guest joining us live via Zoom is in Kingsburg this morning. Hey there, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Austin? Hey,
Chris,
everyone.
yeah,
I'm Chris.
Is it Mitchell?
Michelle.
Okay, Chris Michel, thank you for joining us. Now, you are with hatefulcrawdad.com. Tell us your story.
Sure, yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about Hateful Crawdad at first, where that name comes from. When I was younger, I kind of chose that as a screen name for some funny, immature reason, but it's done me well through my life, and I've never really had to fight to get that username anywhere. It's memorable, and it also is kind of opposite of my personality. People often read it and they're like, "Ooh, hateful crawdad. What's hateful all about?" And then they start talking to me and realize that I'm pretty lighthearted, easygoing, and mostly like a nice, fun guy. So I don't know, something funny about that I've enjoyed, and so I leaned into that as like my art website name, and it's what I sign all my art as and everything. So yeah, a little bit about the name there, but I've been I've been doing art to some form basically my entire life, and maybe didn't ever consider it art. But at some point, I went to design school. I'm a designer by trade, and started to realize that these artistic skills that I had for doing design under like customer constraints could be fun to kind of explore again in adult life for myself and do things that I enjoy. And so a lot of the art that I work on is just a way for me to, I don't know, explore different skills and different mediums and try to push myself in new ways and constantly try to improve. And part of that is over this last year specifically, I've really put a concerted effort into trying to get better at oil painting. That's a medium that I'd never used before. And I have this thing that I call art workouts now that I do. And a little story about that. I've been working out and like lifting weights for 5 years or so now, and it's become a big part of my life. And I wake up really early in the morning at like 5 a.m. to get it done before my kids wake up, before my wife wakes up, so that way I ensure that I can get it done and not miss it or not get busy and just find an excuse not to do it. And 2 days a week I would sleep in. And I started realizing as I wanted to make this art thing a little bit more serious and actually find time to practice and improve, that I was going to have to carve out that same type of time where I knew I wouldn't miss it. So instead of sleeping in on the 2 days, I started getting up at 5 a.m. and coming in here in my studio and painting for an hour and a half or so before my kids wake up and start demanding breakfast or try to get paint all over themselves. And so I started calling that art workouts, just kind of to be a little fun twist on what it is. And the reason it makes sense to me personally is that with lifting weight workouts, a lot of times, you're making those small incremental improvements, you're doing the sets, the reps, and trying to just make the consistency pay off over time. And I've seen that the same in art. I've just been able to slowly find areas where I want to improve, and like trying a portrait or trying a new technique or a new process. And so calling them art workouts just kind of made sense for me, and it gives me a little chuckle. And so yeah, that's a little bit about that.
All right, we are going to now look at some of the pictures that you sent in. So let's begin with that. Can you see the pictures now?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
So what's this one? This first one?
Actually, there's a little bit of a glare. Oh, that's the dustpan one. Okay, so this one is called Dustpan Stories #1. And this is actually acrylic painting. So right before I started going into oil painting, probably real beginning of this year, or maybe at the end of 2020, when I started painting again, I started realizing that we were at home a lot from COVID, and every night we try to clean up the house, and I was sweeping up the kitchen. And one night I realized, wow, looking at this dustpan, you can actually kind of get a story of what went on that day. There's kitty litter, there's cat food, there's feathers and craft materials. And so I had this idea to start painting a series of dustpans to try to tell a story of what's going on day to day. And this is the first one and the only one I've actually done so far, but I have like 10 other pictures on my phone of different dustpans that I might paint eventually, which is why I called this one number one, because I still like the idea. I just haven't got back around to painting it.
Yeah, it is a groovy idea. What about this one?
So this is an abstract, inspired, funny enough, by my wife sells Color Street nails. There's like these real nail polish that you can kind of stick on, and one of them had this kind of blue glittery texture on it. And for whatever reason, just trying to try something different, because I don't do a lot of abstract art usually, I kind of looked at that and drew inspiration from the color and the glitter, and just tried to make something like really textural with a palette knife, and using that deep blue color from it as well. So just kind of had fun with that idea and made a little abstract piece out of it.
All right, here comes the third picture. Oh, this is interesting.
This is that the robot? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one I call Robot Friend. And as part of my kind of art workout thing in the month of April, I think it was, I tried to challenge myself to paint a painting every day, or at least work on a painting every day. I didn't quite hit it. I think I ended up finishing like 14 or 15 paintings in the month, which was still pretty good, but I didn't paint every day. And this is actually a toy that my son got for Christmas that I just felt like it'd be fun to paint. I have this little box and light kind of set up behind me, and I would do still lifes and put objects from around the house in there and light them in different ways to try to paint them.
Well, if somebody wants to buy any of your pieces, do they just go to, we have a couple more, my bad. These are, looks like cookies, right?
Yep, this is peanut butter cookies. We're in that same time frame. I forget if I made them or if my wife made them, but we had cookies one night. So, I got a little cookie snack and decided to put the cookies up there as well and paint those. So.
Well, I like this one as Halloween is coming up.
Yep. This was just me trying to get used to a lot of the objects I had been painting were, things around the house and not necessarily people or faces or like body parts. And so that's an area that I'm always trying to grow in, is doing portraits. And I felt like doing a skull would be a good test of trying to use like a limited palette to represent the shape of the skull. And so I've only done a couple portraits in oil, but I've done them digitally and colored pencil and lots of other mediums. So that's still something that I want to try to practice more too in the future.
So people can, like I said, they can go to hatefulcrawdad.com to learn more, right?
Yep, hatefulcrawdad.com. Sorry, there's an airplane going by. Hopefully you can't hear that. Hatefulcrawdad.com. I just updated the website last night with all these pieces that we've been going over, and I was behind a little while. So there's a bunch on there. I'll also be showing all these at Art Hop next week on Thursday at Broadway Studios.
Okay.
In downtown. I'm the guest artist for that night, and essentially showing all my art workout pieces that I've been doing that have either been done, in a really short time constraint for an art workout or over a couple art workouts. And all the paintings that we've been seeing have come from that and will be shown, and they'll all be available for sale as well, the original pieces.
Well, your art is really, really good, fascinating pieces, and I love it's different too, which is nice,
Thanks.
And it kind of represents you as a person, but then also your family too. So it's a nice storyline.
Yeah, definitely. And I have a lot of fun. Like, you notice the theme of single objects, with a colorful background, and there's something about that with the complexity of everything around us, of just like kind of honing in on one thing and trying to represent it and get those details is just pleasing and fun to me. And I'm sure that'll change over time, but for whatever reason right now, I'm just really kind of obsessed with like get that one object and get a good image of it. And I've done that before too. I used to do photography a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And I tended to kind of zoom in on a part of something and get the detail of it and try to make an interesting composition out of it. So I think that's just coming through in my art as well. And maybe it has to do with being a designer as well, and just like really caring about composition and focus and trying to tell a simple story, but who knows, just kind of like it right now.
Well, Chris in Kingsburg, thank you for joining us here on Artists and Authors, and come back anytime as you have new pieces that you want to promote, okay?
All righty. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Artists and Authors here at Central Valley Talk. We're back with one more guest this morning that's coming up in just a bit. Hang tight.